Hello, Graham.
Well, hello. Oh, it's so good to see you.
You
Framed
too.
against your mountains. Are they your
Yes.
mountains? They're Montana
No,
mountains?
they're Google's
Eh.
mountains. They're royalty-free Google's mountains. Um, I, welcome back, everyone, to TN3. I'm Faye Schmidt, and this is Graham Kerr.
I am delighted to see you both. That's me and you.
So these are very snowy mountains because I think it was the day that we were on the call last. There was like a huge blizzard throughout our area, and it was like for like 2.5 days. And now we have like a foot of snow, and it hasn't gone away. And I didn't know fall was going to be so short, and it's already winter. But since we're talking about 5 remarkable things again, this leads into one of mine, which is taking the like kind of disappointment that it's not fall anymore and that it's now kind of winter much earlier than I thought it was going to be. And the other day, my husband and I just went out for a walk to like remember that you can still do physical activity in 12-degree weather. But we have one sled and we brought it with us, and we just walked around trying, because Missoula is all in a valley. It's the weirdest place I've ever lived because there are no buildings on hills anywhere. Like, there are only buildings in the valley, which is beautiful because it means that all the buildings are like low down and you can always see the gorgeous mountains surrounding the city. But I was like, I've never like not really known where to sled before. So we just kind of walked around and found some like not really all that interesting sledding places. They were really slow. It was just kind of like riding a like track. And then at one point we just had to like push each other down the road. But it was still like a good reminder that there is fun and good and joy in 12-degree weather when everything's covered in snow unexpectedly.
So this, in a way, was saying to you on this very auspicious episode that this is the road ahead. It might not, it needs to be looked for because you want the exhilaration of a nice downward trip, but you don't know where to go to get it.
Mm-hmm.
But there is enough joy in just pushing each other down the flat, in a sense, because you've got what it takes. You've got the sled, you've got each other, you've got the snow. So so lead us to where the good is. And the good is a nice toboggan run downhill somewhere. See,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to find that and you're going to talk to us about it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm not going out in the snow. I'm going out in the media, and I'm going out in my neighborhood, and I'm going to look for the same thing where I can get an exhilarating expression of life, which I think is called joy. Do you like going downhill rapidly?
Oh yeah. I mean, not when there's like trees and stuff at the bottom, but in a very safe way, yes.
Yeah, well, and I think I love the idea of joy, or even pure joy. Pure joy, I think, is the joy where you cry. And normally you cry because you're upset, but sometimes it's so full of joy that you just overflow. And that's about the only thing I can describe it as.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it would be, you radically modified my life last time we were together. And I think you know why, because I was quite straightforward about it. When you went for the walk with your good friend and had a good conversation and walking through the trees and everything else was wonderful, but your eyes were on the dirt. And you actually thought to yourself, as you told me, that you were looking for something remarkable, and there really wasn't anything remarkable about having your eyes fixed on the dirt. At least you knew what you didn't need to trip over. I guess that's a good point. So you looked up, and when you looked up, you looked through larch trees which had become that beautiful yellow color, golden color, and you saw the blue above your head. Tell me again what you thought about that moment.
It's not easy to remember to appreciate the beauty around you, but it's always there.
So, and you looked up, and I think you were almost breathtaken by how beautiful it was. Just a snapshot. Dirt, up, beautiful. Dirt, beauty. And I just thought, dear Lord, if there's ever a season of our lives, it's right now. We can't avoid the dirt, and we should be careful where we put our feet. Let's face it. We need to be careful. But to observe what is beautiful and what is good around us and within a second of that, of transferring and of feeling that joy flood into us, whereas this was simply self-preservation. Now it's joy. So I wanted to tell you a story about a bridge, and I think you know the bridge. It's I-90, and it goes over the Lake Washington out of Seattle. Occasionally, there is a really strong wind from the north. And when there is, the lake picks up at what is called a fetch of waves that march down towards this bridge, and hit this bridge broadside. When they do, the wave hits there and bounces back, and it hits a wave coming, and it shoots up into the air. And with a strong breeze, the top of the wave gets blown off as spray. And if one's driving across, which I did one day in that storm, your windscreen and the side of the car is covered in waves of foam. And the windscreen wipers going like crazy, and you can barely see the car in front of you. And everything is buffeting as it's going. And you look out to your left, and there's these huge angry waves rising up and falling down. And on the other side, it's flat calm. It's on the lee side. And it occurred to me on that moment, first of all, don't stop. If you stop, everybody else stops. You can't stop. You're only going 5 miles an hour, but this is not going to go on forever. But as long as it's going on, you might stop being so preoccupied with spouts of angry waves and look at the peacefulness that there is on that other side. And just know that this is going to stop. We're going to get to the other side, and it's going to be right. So for this season in which we have to go through, we're aware of the angry stuff around us, and we're aware of the peacefulness that is in the lee of that experience of our journey. So we're going to report about the lee of our journey, of the beauty that we see, of the peacefulness, and of the joy that can come there. Wouldn't that be just wonderful if there was just some place, I'm sure there are others, within the worldwide media where two people can talk about joy and beauty, whilst at the same time recognizing that it's a tough time. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I hope that this is a sliver of as helpful for the people watching as it is for me, because this whole process, there have been times that are like, we have like topics that are really difficult to think about. And there have been other times there are topics where I am really passionate about and always thinking about them anyway. And I've said before that I'm not someone who innately thinks deeply about subjects. And so having this last week and the week before and this week being oh shoot, my like homework is to like think back on remarkable things that have happened throughout my past and for this week. Like, oh darn, like I just for me it's like a requirement, and it's amazing because like I need that structure in my life to have this requirement to focus outwards and focus on remarkable things and things that bring me joy and things that are good in the world. I don't want it to stop.
Good. It makes you delightful to be with. If a person's always wandering around saying, have you heard? They are rising up and they're arming themselves and they're doing this and they're doing that. It's a terrible time. I don't need to hang out with people like them. This is a season of difficulty and it's going to stop. And if we look for the things that are good and beautiful, they're encouraging us to look at the lee side of the problem instead of the windward side of it. It's really,
yeah. And sometimes if you're lucky on that bridge, on that calm side, you'll also be able to see Mount Rainier, which is like icing on top of everything because it's gorgeous.
Isn't it? Yeah, that's right. Oh, good.
So I've kind of, we got into this so quickly that I kind of forgot to do the rest of the introduction, which is last week. It was my turn to bring up a topic, and I knew that I was bringing up a topic for our last episode of season 2. No, not for sure knowing if we will be able to do a season 3. So it was a little bit of pressure, but I had an idea in mind, but throughout our conversation last week, we both realized that like this attitude of looking outwards for remarkable things is in itself a remarkable thing. Yes. So we came back to looking for 5 more remarkable things. That's what we've been thinking about this week. That's what we're here to talk about. We're so excited about the concept, we can't stop talking about that.
Well, I've got this basket here. And these are stones which are painted by Faith's grandmother, Ruth. So Ruth has painted these stones. I actually had a whole bunch of plain stones and was able to donate those to your grandma, to Ruth. And she so brilliantly and beautifully handed me back a basket full of stones. Now, you know what she does with these and what other people tend to do with them is that they tend to leave them around in different places on park benches or places where they can be picked up. And I like this one particularly.
Oh, that's cute.
I remember as a child of stamping into a puddle. And for the life of me, I don't know why I did that, but I think I was looking down and seeing me and then reflected and stamping in the puddle on my own reflection and see it disappear. So I don't know whether there's anything Freudian in that, but I love this one. So here's the thing. I so value the gift that I put them in this very nice wire basket, and I've been looking at it and so valuing it and realizing that the only gift in this is I've got to leave these around because she created this to be left in order to bring a measure of joy to the person who picked it up. Now, there was a time, and I won't get over scriptural here, I promise, when Jesus came in at that time, which is called Palm Sunday, and the crowds were waving their palm trees and shouting Hosanna and everything else. And the priests at the time were really ticked off about this one. They said, can't you keep these people quiet? And Jesus said, I can't, because if I quiet them, even the stones will cry out. Now, I think when we paint joyful things on stones, these are not scriptural things, these are joyful things. these, which there's no reason why the two can't overlap. But when they're picked up, there's a treasure there. There's a communication of something. Somebody cared enough to do this, and I've got this, and I can take this home. Or maybe I can leave this for somebody else. I just love that idea of passing on a little bit of labor and a lot of love that does that. It's just, I got to tell you, it's such a joy. So that's a contribution I wanted to throw in with this. It's just super.
You talking about that brings up so many different times of like me wandering on a beach with my grandma, like looking at rocks and being fascinated by them. And then that led to her now like painting on them. There was one time where my mom and I we knew we were going to be it was a river beach, and river rocks are the best because they're flat and you can get like a good surface on them. We knew we were going to be at a river beach, so we bought this big bag because we knew grandma was going to want us to bring home some rocks. And we filled this bag with all these really cool rocks. And then we've kind of forgot how long of a walk it was back to the car. And so I just remember having this huge bag, like both of us are trying to like carry it together because it's like this big of a bag just filled with rocks. We're both trying to like lug it back to the car. And every so often we just have to like take a couple rocks out and like put them down.
I love that because that's a good example of if we're doing something that we hope will be a joy for somebody else, there should be enough buoyancy during the time of doing that so that it doesn't become heavy labor. I think some people thinking they're doing people a lot of benefit wear themselves out completely. And they don't have a joy in it. They just are weary. I'm not suggesting that weariness is a bad idea because it does mean working, but I just think that there's some. I like the word buoyancy, and you being weighed down by all those rocks. I think that was right for you to take out a couple on your way. I think that works very well.
We still made it back with plenty of rocks, so it worked out.
So here's the shot. From time to time, I have said, and I think you've said a couple of times, you've looked at our viewers, and instead of just each other, and we've wanted to include them. So I'm sort of feeling at the present moment that this series 3. I'd love to be inclusive of you. That's just normal. We've now worked on this one. We understand that. But I would so love for this to be able to spill out beyond us at a time of difficulty that we're going through. That we can pick up little bits of good from where we go at home. And we're going to sort of try and come up with a way so that you can participate in this program with Faith and I as co-creators of this pathway that leads to good during this time. Why can't we start a little movement of people looking at what is beautiful instead of what is dirty?
Yeah, so, and I think that we have started that a little bit. We've actually gotten a few comments about people sharing their like, I didn't notice that this was something remarkable and actually had a good impact. But here, I'll share one from one of our regulars, Vegan Chef 75 said, I'm dyslexic, I'm sorry, I'll read better. I have been in a bit of a funk for most of the week, and today we took our little 5-year-old. We are in the process of adopting her to the farmer's market and watched her running around visiting all the animals. To see her have such joy sparked me right out of my funk. While I did not expect to be chasing a 5-year-old around at 61, she has brought so much to our lives.
There. And there is a little child in us running around wanting to be engaged with the things that we see and do. Wouldn't that be amazing?
And thank goodness children are so cute. Like that's a miracle in itself. It's a really self-preservative of them.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Well, I'd also like it for an 86-year-old to be cute. It's been a long time since I was cute. And I would just like to run around with the 5-year-old that still lurks within me, being just plain flat out delighted by the world that's going around me. I think that would be so cool. Yeah.
My niece just got a like big yellow raincoat and rain boots, and she's 1.5, I think now. So adorable. She's so adorable. It's amazing. So she's really embracing the rainy weather, I think, better than me at the moment. And splashing in puddles.
When we tell each other stories like this, we open up the opportunity for joy to go beyond us to other people. And I'm really looking forward to that. There is something that I'm working on this week. I'm having a small group at the present moment, and there are 8 of us. And we took these little heart-shaped split rings, and we made this into a little symbol of our lives. We're just trying to get to know how to love one another, and in a small group. So what I did, I imagined my soul as something I really, really, really want to do. And I looked down and I really, really, really like these small groups to really work and get to love each other. And it would be nice. And I get this sense that it's an acquisition. I'm looking at that and thinking, if I can make this work, then I've really done a great I. And I wondered what it would be like if I turned the I in me upside down, so that my soul was not a catchment area of things that I was looking for that make me feel good, but more a space in which I can meet with other people in a space where there's so much less of me in that space, that I'm more attentive to who those people are and that relationship that I could have with them. I don't think I've got to explain it properly yet, but I do think that as we look for the good, it must somehow, I should know the word must is silly. It could be the kind of stuff that spills over, that we can share with other people, that we become, that it's a passing on of something. I just got to, I don't know where that goes, but that's what I'd like to look for, the kind of good that is passing on or passing through. Does it make sense?
Yeah,
Go.
Absolutely.
Go.
So I don't know if you guys can tell, but we are a little bit overexcited about this concept and this attitude that we've discovered over the last couple weeks. I don't know that even you and I have really nailed this down, but we are thinking that we should move forward with this in that our season 3, we might have a few weeks off before that starts. I'm not sure. We'll let you know. But our next season, I believe we could call Tea at 3 Looking for Good.
Yeah.
And for me, that's a huge relief because one, that's somewhere where we can start with, because we've covered a lot already over 23 episodes now. So moving forward, having the core of our program be this attitude of looking outward for good, looking outward for 5 remarkable things, looking outward for the beauty in the world, looking up at the beauty of the world. And so that is what we will be hoping to do moving forward beyond wrapping up this season and moving forward into season 3, looking for good. So part of that is that we are out of funding. Like I said last week, we are out of funding. We have been funded by the GK film, Galloping Upstream. I think it's gallopingupstream.com if you want to go check that out. But that's over now, and we are looking to become more crowdsourced. If this is a program that has meant something to you, we're still kind of ironing it out, but we have started a Patreon page. It's Patreon, patreon.com/T@3. I'll also put a link down in the description. And this is a service that allows us to collect like monthly donations. So you can sign up for like $3 a month. And if enough of you did that, like we would be able to keep going. And that would be amazing. Like a small raindrop in our little bucket to continue to move forward in this process. I've said far too many times because I'm so uncomfortable talking about this kind of thing. But okay, I'll bring in one of my remarkable things from this week was after we had talked last week about starting our search for funding, we got this comment from David Weddle that says, Faith, you mentioned reaching out if someone wanted to find ways to contribute to help future program funding. How could one go about helping with small contributions to this end? Excellent program and uplifting contributions from both of you in a time where it is so greatly needed. Thank you. It's things, it's responses from a community like that, like people that are willing to get involved and appreciate us and watch. Like it's things like that that make me really want to like search for that and make this work and make it keep going, because I think it's hugely valuable for the both of us, and hopefully it's at least a little bit valuable for the people watching too.
I'm going to interrupt you.
Please do.
Your grandma should be really proud of you, Faith. You're a little flat river stone that she's painted her love on. And I know how hard it is for you to talk about money, because in part of what we've done in the last 23 weeks is to talk about that and how it's just deadly for you to have to do that. And what you just did is totally remarkable. And I just want to tell you how very proud I am of you too. I think you did that extremely well. It's awfully hard to ask people to support us for doing something we love to do. Isn't it enough that we love to do it? We would love to do it. But this world isn't just that. There is somehow value in contributing to a river, even if it's a drop. And I think that you and I want to sow our search for good into a river that's beginning to run through otherwise a rather sad and desert-like experience. And I think we want to do it so much that we would love to share that joy with other people as well. And somehow making a contribution to something which seems right is a joyful experience itself. So I think that what you just described is terrific. And I was in somewhat doubts about it. I don't know. I don't see why people should pay to watch me. And that's not what they're really doing. They would participate in order to help this thing that we want to release to go further. That's the thing. It's not you and I as personalities. It's the concept. I think that's right. Thank
Absolutely.
you. Did a good job. Well done.
All right. So moving forward for us, I think we will take at least 1 week of a break in between seasons. But moving forward for us, we will be thinking about this concept, looking for good, looking for the remarkable in our daily lives and throughout our lives, and continuing that attitude of searching for that and seeing the ways that like can change our lives completely and how remarkable that itself is. I also want to say a huge thank you to Steve and Mary and Forrest and Julie and Ruth and Linda for being a part of our Tea at 3 experience. And moving forward, hopefully there will be more names on that list. So you can check out that link to the Patreon down below. And also please leave your comments about these little remarkable moments. Honestly, they warm my heart so much.
Yes.
It's so beautiful to see other people's moments while I'm out there searching for my own. So this has been Tea at 3 Season 2. Thank you so much for being here in this season, and we hope to see you in the next one. I'm Faye Schmidt. This is Graham Kerr. And we'll see you next time. One more little thing that helps us out is please do subscribe if you haven't already, and like the video if you enjoyed watching, and feel free to share this with your friends if you got something out of it. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.